Hello from Skiathos, the Greek island where we're exploring the relationship between landscape, soulscape, and a creative life. I'm Rick, I'm an artist and mystic from England, and I spend my time here making art and working with the wild energies of the island. Today, we're going to explore what it means to connect to our deepest dreams and desires for our life, and some ideas about what steps we can take to enable them to flourish in our lives. Wherever you are on your journey, right at the start, wondering what to do, right in the middle, facing seemingly insurmountable obstacles, needing rest and healing because of the rigors of the road, or maybe basking in the glow of finding something wonderful. I hope that you find something encouraging here today. A few times when people have come up to visit our house, we've sat on the balcony looking out over the Aegean, and they've said, "Oh, wow, you're really living the dream." Yes, living the dream. Well, yes. In some ways, that's true. I feel very fortunate to be living here in a peaceful olive grove on this beautiful island, taking time to meditate and make rituals in the wild spaces of the land and beaches around here, and also, of course, make art. But this doesn't come without its challenges. Living off grid can be physically hard, especially in the winter time. And the path to get here has been long, winding, and at times really difficult with lots of dead ends and obstacles. And this journey here, well, it all started with a kind of restlessness, a sense that something was longing to emerge in my life, and I wasn't quite sure what it was. So this episode is for anyone who feels that restlessness, that insistent inner voice that may be very faint at times, but just won't go away. I don't just mean the call to travel somewhere new. It might be a dream for any kind of life transformation, a longing to explore a new creative skill, to write a novel, to change careers, or to embark on a new area of learning. Any kind of life transformation, big or small. But I would start with a key question that I've asked before in a previous episode. What is it you really want? What is it you really want? On the face of it, this seems straightforward to answer, but when we dig down a bit, it can be a very unsettling question to ask. Often, we think we know what we want: a promotion at work, a romantic partner, a success in our creative endeavors, travel to a sunny beach. But if we sit with the question for longer, the obvious answer may not be what we're actually longing for. Social pressures, the expectations of our parents, cultural frameworks all shape what we may feel is the obvious answer. But sit a while, go deeper. Listen to the secret stirrings of your wise heart. And there may be a whisper there that is much more strongly rooted, much more true than the blaring ambitions that we feel that we crave on the surface. It's worth taking some time with this to really listen deeply. And you can use the framework of guided contemplation from episode 3 on this channel to ask the question, if that's helpful. And ask it with no assumptions, and then allowing the answer to unfurl gently from within. And at first, I wonder if the true desire begins not as a longing for a particular thing or life circumstance, a new car, recognition for our artwork, a change of career, or whatever, but a longing for a particular sensation. A particular sensation. A long time before I knew what I really wanted in practical terms, in fact, I'd never been able to dream of this, I knew what it would feel like. It would feel grounded, secure, peaceful, creative flow. The sensations that your heart longs for may very well be different, but whatever they are, they form the kernel, the seed from which our transformation grows. Because, and this is a statement of faith, not fact, so I'm not telling you that you have to believe it, come to your own conclusion. But my sense is that when we follow the deepest desire of our heart, when we do follow it, that will always lead us somewhere fruitful. It's not a false trail. We can trust the call. This is why returning to the heart is so important. We may say we have desire to be a millionaire or a famous musician or to have a large family, and sure, those things may come to pass for us or they may not. But whether they actually satisfy the longing in our hearts is another issue entirely. It was maybe 5 years ago when I began to seek out the deepest desire of my heart in this way. And slowly, I began to feel the gentle call of Greek islands that I knew well from my previous travels here. A sense of a calling towards a creative, connected life. But it seemed so far-fetched and a ridiculous dream, a long way out of reach, a long way beyond possibilities, until one summer solstice, I was celebrating with the queer group, the Radical Fairies, who are wonderful. And I mentioned this dream to one of the other members of the community as we sat around the fire. And again, as I talked about it, I dismissed it as a ridiculous dream. And they said to me, "What's difficult about making that happen? What's difficult about making that happen?" And when we're on the heart's path, we meet the right people at the right time with just the wisdom we need for that moment. And that question shifted the energy for me. What was difficult about making that happen? And the truth is, there were some things that were difficult about making it happen. Some of those things were evident to me at the time. And some things, difficult things, that only emerged on the path as I walked it, and I would never have been able to anticipate what they were. And you see, this is the next step of living the dream. I suspect it's the hardest step that many of us don't get past because it takes a lot of courage. Once we have got in touch with the true desire of our heart, we actually need to move, to do something, to take a risk, the terrifying risk of making a change. Like the person who says, "Oh, I really want to be a creative." Well, how wonderful. So have you made a painting? Have you written a poem? Have you learned to play an instrument? Often the thing that holds us back is the fear of making a bad painting, of writing a bad poem, of sounding terrible when we first blow the trumpet. But let me tell you, this is the path. To make a good painting, we first need to take the risk of feeling the fear and the sense of failure that comes with making lots and lots of bad paintings. And as a painter, I can tell you this is true from my own experience. And that discussion about what is a good or a bad painting is a whole other episode and outside the scope of this discussion. But this is the hard truth. This is the hard truth. No one is coming to rescue you, to make your desires into reality. If you do nothing, then nothing will happen. And the longing will shine inside you and never find release until perhaps it just fades away because it was never nurtured. This is the path to living the dream, and it is a path of thorns. It's the story behind this painting here behind me. I made it when I was visiting Skiathos a couple of years ago. I was staying in an apartment near the port. From my balcony, I could see on the other side of the harbour a beach way in the distance. And one day I decided to walk to find it along the peninsula opposite the main town here in Skiathos. As I walked the path along the peninsula, I came to a high wall with a modern electric gate and a security camera and sign saying no entry. The path to the beach lay on the other side of the gate. Rather than give up, I felt sure that there would be a way through or around somehow. And so I explored the area, pushing my way up through an old, overgrown olive grove. I could sense I was moving in the right direction, but the undergrowth was getting thicker and thicker as I pushed on through the grove. And then came the thorns, a dense thicket of tangled shrubs, all biting at my bare legs. But I was so far in, it was difficult to turn around, so I had to press on, and the thorns tore at my skin. And then, finally, at the far end of the olive grove, the dense foliage opened out to a path again. And in amongst the wild plants were some fronds that I recognized as Skiathos mountain tea. It's a really powerful healing herbal tea. It was as if the path led me through the pain of the thorns to a healing balm. And then, a short way down the slope, I found myself on the sand of the beach I'd seen from the far side of the bay. I took off my clothes and entered the soft waters of the Aegean that washed and tended to my wounds, gently, coolly, calmly. When we follow the heart's path, it is so often a path of obstacles, blocked passageways, and painful, thorny moments. I guarantee when you set off to follow your deepest heart's desire, whilst you may feel like you make progress at first, you will eventually encounter what seems like an insurmountable obstacle. You will encounter promising paths that turn into dead ends. You'll find yourself on painful paths that tear you to shreds. In my journey to this peaceful space on Skiathos, I've encountered so many discouraging moments. Times when it felt like everything was falling apart and that my dream would never come into being. People who let me down, practical circumstances that seemed, impossible to shift. Times when it felt like I was on the verge of arriving, almost there, only for the possibility to shut down completely. My encouragement to you, if you are on this path and facing obstacles and discouragement, my encouragement is simply to keep going. Keep going. Return to that heart desire. Let that be your North Star, the compass guide. I knew there was a way to that beach, even when I faced the intimidating security gate and the path of thorns. But I kept true to the calling of that deep heart desire. And here's the thing. Yes, the path was painful at times, but the path also offered the healing gifts I needed. Yes, Nothing will happen if we don't have the courage to take that first step. But when we do so, the road does rise up to meet us and provide us with the sustenance we need to keep going if we keep faith with our vision. And in retrospect, once you do get to your destination, it might all seem like luck. And maybe that is part of the process. But our luck increases the more space we make in our lives for positive connections to happen. When we sense that beckoning desire, the trick is to increase our surface area, increase the connections we're making with the world, put ourselves in the places and with the people who have the potential to fan the flames of the energy, opening up the space for mutual enrichment of our lives with the people we meet. That might mean visiting more galleries and chatting to artists if we're seeking creative outlets, perhaps. Wandering through different landscapes with our eyes and not only our eyes, but all of our senses open for possibilities. And I can't tell you how many remarkable places and experiences and people I've encountered simply by wandering with that awareness. Finding the weird side alley in a town that leads to a quirky gallery space. Noticing the overgrown path off the main thoroughfare and pushing through to find a sacred space of wonder and so on. Walking, living with eyes open with curiosity. And in our wandering and meeting and gentle conversation with people, if we sense a door that may be ajar, a promising way forward, let's have the courage to open it and step through with this mantra: if not this, then something better. If not this, then something better. I found this to be the antidote to any spiral of despair that comes when doors close and a promising path fades away. Rather than giving up, thinking that our dream is an illusion and returning to the start of the journey, hold to the energy of your heart desire. Rest, and with curiosity and patience, find new doors. If not this, then something better. We will have been changed for the better simply for the courageous act of walking through the door. No step on this path is wasted energy. Keep going. Keep going. So, firstly, take time in stillness to find your true desire. This is the compass bearing to follow, and it may very well not be the most obvious thing that comes to mind. Then, engage with the world with curiosity to increase your surface area, the spaces where doors can open and opportunities arise for your path to open up. And when a promising door does open, have the courage to step through it with the mantra, if not this, then something better. When doors close, or you find dead ends, which you surely will, and I surely will, there's no need to go back to the start. You're further on your journey than you can imagine. You're being transformed by the process. Trust your heart and keep going. And as I sit here in the olive grove, enjoying the view over the Aegean, reflecting on the long road I've travelled to get here, I'd love to hear about your stories of following your dreams and desires. What challenges you've faced, what opportunities, what joys. Do share in the comments if you'd like to. And if you know someone who would find this helpful, then please do share this video with them. Like and subscribe to this YouTube channel now as well. That's such a help to me. Thank you. If a one-to-one video call would be helpful. I have over 15 years experience accompanying people on their spiritual journeys. So drop me a message and we can discuss what might work for you. Also, if you'd be interested in having your personal story and experience expressed in a piece of art, then I'd be really happy to work with you. Could be a painting like this, or a little sculpture or talisman like these driftwood paintings, these driftwood owls, or whatever will be helpful to you. Send me a message or follow the link attached to this channel. Now, thank you for listening. I hope you have a peaceful and gentle day. And I'll be here next week for some more stories and journeys with art, soul, and landscape. Lots of love.